Well, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It really does depend where you're listening to me from around the world. This is JFI Radio. I'm Yousepha Fawcett, your host, and I'm broadcasting just to you. Now, did you wonder where I was this morning? My apologies. I am a little later than scheduled because unfortunately I've had an outage here at home and everything just crashed. But I'm here and I'm here live and I'm here with you. This is what happens when you're doing podcasts live. Anything can happen, but I always knew that I would be coming back to you. So hello. Now, for those of you who have been joining me each week, you know that through this live podcast, I love bringing you stories from my week across my professional working areas, which are lifelong learning, open education, HR and talent development, quality improvement and business excellence, and a new, expanded area to add to the list, XR. XR. XR in education and training. And the X and the R stands for extended reality. Some might call it mixed reality because I'm going to be covering things around VR and AR and AI in education. And I am just so excited about this area and everything to do with it. So I can't wait to bring it all to you. Now, I work quite hard during the week to prep for each live broadcast. I look at the news all around the world, all the different news stories that cover the areas that I've just talked to you about. And I like to try and find things that are a little different, maybe from countries that you wouldn't normally look for or look at. And I do cover across all the continents. And you know that if my news items whet your appetite, hold on, let me just turn to my captions, and there we go. That's the one I want. There's the ticker at the bottom. So what I tend to do is I create the news, I find good links, and if it all makes you think, I'd like to know just a little bit more, then go to my website, as it says on the ticker at the bottom of the screen. Go to jfiradio.com. Scroll down. There is a big blue button, and that takes you to the replays. I nearly said role plays. That's what I've been doing during the week. Replays and the news links for each broadcast. And then you can make up your own mind. You can decide, am I interested in finding out a bit more about this news? Is it real news? Is it fake news? How do I find out more about it? For those of you that work in industry, it might just give you a prompt and a nudge towards looking at it in a bit more detail and questioning the facts. For those of you in academia and education, you might decide that it is a valuable resource for you to use as part of a wider piece of research. Either way, you are very welcome. So, what have I been up to this week? Well, it's been a slightly quieter week than I have had all the way through November. November was crazy. I mean, completely crazy. I don't think I came up for air very much at all. This week, I have done my normal teaching on Mondays at the College of Esports over in Stratford in East London. And it's just an amazing building. It's called the Velodrome. And if you Google it, you will see some pictures, and the roof looks like a giant Pringle. Now, if you don't, I'm sure you will know what Pringles are. They're in that tube. They're crisps, and they're in that tube. And once you've had one, you've got to finish the whole pack, right? Particularly if you've got a nice drink next to you, you're away. But for those of you that don't know, it's Pringle. Look it up, and you'll see the shape of the Pringle is exactly the same as the roof shape of the velodrome. Or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe the velodrome is exactly the same shape as the Pringle. Either way, that's where I've been teaching with my lovely, lovely cohort of young students who are on gaming and esports degree. And I love working with them. They are young, they're fresh, they've got new ideas, they have different ideas, and I'm learning from them as much as I hope they're learning from me. So that was the first part of the week. During the week, I have been doing some of my normal facilitation of leadership workshops. I do this online, and I have great fun doing it. These tend to be middle and senior managers in and team leaders in my client organisation, and we have some really healthy discussions. And I'm really grateful to them because they stay online with me for 7 hours. And they keep their cameras on. I mean, that's no mean feat, huh? So we have great fun doing that as well. And I've also been doing some research, working with a group of academic professionals from Australia, Pakistan, and Peru, looking at how AI is beginning to influence educators, their curricula, and their delivery in the class. And that piece of research is ongoing for probably the whole of 2025. We started it now, carried on the whole of 2025, and come November, we'll be coming together at the ICDE conference over in New Zealand, and we'll be presenting along with the other groups. I'm just in one group which is focusing on goal 2, and there were 3 other goals within this initiative, and we'll be presenting some of our findings over in New Zealand, and I just cannot wait. But as for today, I gave you a bit of a teaser last week, didn't I? I said that I was going to be talking about XR. And what I'm really interested in is that kind of intersection between virtual reality and augmented reality and AI, the 3 components of XR. Now, there is no doubt that AI is already having like the most enormous implications in education. And if we start widening this and broadening this, it's not like VR and AR weren't involved in education and training before, but the 3, the trinity of the 3 under the umbrella of XR is really making waves in a variety of educational settings. And when you think about the virtual reality and the fact that it is literally complete make-believe and you're taking yourself to a different space and learning in that space, and compare that with augmented reality, which I'll talk to you about a little more a bit later on, because I've got a lovely friend who's been doing some amazing work in augmented reality, where you overlay digital components onto real situations and real life situations and simulations. And then you start putting in the AI integration and the exploratory value of that and the discussion points associated with that. And well, you can see where I'm coming from, can't you? And you can see why my immersion into the esports and gaming world is also triggering this XR interest. And so you're going to hear a lot more about XR from me over the year, I think, over next year, here in JFI Radio Live. The other thing is the news today, by the way, is all XR related. from all around the world. So you've got a real big XR hit today. I suppose the key thing that I enjoy about this is the immersion into the learning experience and how personalized it becomes. AI can actually tailor those learning experiences to what each individual actually needs. That makes it more interesting for them. It makes it more engaging. And at the end of the day, it makes for more effective learning. The other thing is, and this is a piece of research work that I'm going to be doing with the Norwegian Association for Adult Learning and my lovely friend Andres. You often hear me talking about Andres over in Norway. Well, we're doing research into lifelong learning and looking at ways of personalizing the lifelong learning experience, particularly for NEETs. Now, you might need to go back a few episodes, a few weeks to listen to me talking about NEETs before. NEETs stands for individuals, young people between 18, 24, 25 who are not in education, employment or training and have slipped through the educational gap for many different reasons. Andres and I are also looking at neurodiversity and how that needs to be better represented in the classroom, whether it is in the early years classroom, the further education space, or the higher education space. One thing is for sure, AI can definitely tailor these experiences, adapt difficulty levels, change content presentation, and really respond to each student's learning styles to help them progress. Gone are the days where one size fits all. The other thing is that AI, when it powers XR, can make it more accessible for more people, but not just with special needs, but those in remote areas. And there are things like real-time translations or adaptations for people who have hearing difficulties or visual impairments. And I have always wanted to be an intelligent virtual tutor. And I have spoken in the past about Bina 48, which is a piece of research from the Terasum Foundation over in Canada. And I've been following Bina, who is really, I've just switched, I've just moved along into robotics now. But I've been following Bina for the last decade and watched how she is a she to me because I've just felt so invested in her. She's just a head and shoulders, okay? Nothing more. She is a robotic head and shoulders that has been pre-programmed with hundreds and hundreds of hours from the owner and the creator and connected to the internet. She is now becoming more sentient in her responses, and she's been interviewed by so many people. She's been interviewed by huge newspaper, the New York Times. She's been interviewed, would you believe, by Oprah Winfrey. Just amazing. Just amazing. And I've always wanted to model myself. So Elon Musk, if you happen to be listening to this podcast, I know that you are very busy and you have lots of other podcasts to listen to, probably from people that are far more well known than me. But if by any chance you're listening, and I will post this on X just to get your attention, maybe you'd like to invest in me and create a Zephyr 48, who head and shoulders that can be plonked into a classroom and do the teaching, and I'll be at home with my cocoa and my slippers on and my feet up. I'd love to be an intelligent virtual tutor with a robotic head, but I'm going to need a lot of money to create that. So Elon, come on, put your money where your mouth is and come and support an independent learning practitioner realize a dream. By the way, if any of you know Elon personally and would like to make a contact with him, just tell him Josefa is waiting. Uh, You're laughing at me now. I think I'm demob happy because this is my last live broadcast for 2024. So with gay abandon, I'm just, I don't know, just sharing with you my ramblings as you know I do. Now let me come into virtual reality and augmented reality. Can you imagine how exciting it is? Well, it would be to talk to a simulated historical figure as part of your learning process, or interacting with really complex things, complex concepts. And that interaction, it just makes it more memorable rather than just adopting rote learning and memorization. And don't start me. Rant alert, rant alert, rant alert. E-learning. E-learning, have any of you had to do any statutory or mandatory e-learning recently? Anything where you've had to listen or watch endless videos, read what could be just PDFs online with complex, really deep information. And then we're having read it all for maybe, well, they sometimes say this will only take you 10 minutes. In reality, it takes you 3-4 times as long. Then you've got a quiz to test all that memory. And if you don't get past a certain percentage, you have to go back to the beginning and start again. Oh my goodness, when are we going to get real and stop this rote learning and memorization thing and get more dynamic and create learning that's more exciting for individuals? Soon, I hope. But there is somebody, a different somebody I want to shout out to today. And I want to mention a former colleague of mine from some 10 years ago, 10 plus years actually. And we've stayed in contact all this time. And actually, we're reconnecting just a couple of days ago after a period of not talking to each other because he's been off in the States and around the world doing his thing. And his name is Professor Dr. Fernando Salvetti. Hi, Fernando. I hope you and Barbara are well. Now, Fernando was a lawyer and epistemologist, and he's from Turin, he's from Italy, and he and his wife, Barbara Bertagni, are the founders and managing partners of eReal Labs and LogosNet. And eReal is an online platform that creates interactive virtual and augmented reality environments, a real enhanced immersive simulation experience. And eReal sort of brings it together, the real and the virtual worlds, and makes it in such a way that learners can coexist and interact in a real place and not within a headset. So he sets up these amazing rooms, all white with all the technology, and puts learners in the center. And there are interactive whiteboards, there are interactive walls. Yes, you heard me right. And people are immersed in the learning experience. Now, the reason I know Fernando and Barbara for so many years is right at the very beginning. We found each other at a conference, and he discovered that I do voiceover, and I voiced some of his very early promotional films for eReal. And I've followed him ever since, and I've watched him and Barbara develop this immersive learning. I mean, he was so ahead of his time. He was doing this decades ago, and now it's coming into its own, and I could not be more happy. I will post a link to one of his many papers. This one is Enhanced Reality for Medical Simulation, and he co-wrote that with the doctors Roxanne Gardner and Rebecca Meinhardt, and it's then since been added to books. A particular one that's very interesting to read is Recent Advances in Technologies for Inclusive Wellbeing, Virtual Patients, Gamification and Simulation. which they published in 2020. And what's so exciting about this is that his time has come. And even more exciting is in 2025, I am going to be doing an interview with Professor Dr. Fernando Salvetti and bringing him to you here, my lovely supporters of JFI Radio. That is certainly one for you to listen out for. Okay, so that brings you up to the first part of the show and my news. And you know what's coming next, don't you? Because, of course, JFI Radio would not be anything if I didn't take you over to the newsroom for the global news. So, Friday, 6th of December, 2024, here as ever are the latest global news headlines. Enjoy.
You're listening to JFI Radio Live. Here's the latest training and learning news from around the globe.
From JFI Radio Newsroom, here are the latest global news headlines. North America. Collegiate esports have transformed from niche activities to vital components of campus life at universities across the nation. Joey Goreziak, Associate Professor and Executive Director of Esports at Syracuse University, emphasized the growing trend of developing esports programs that cater to students of all abilities and learning styles. The focus is shifting towards leveraging esports and video games as educational tools, creating new opportunities for engagement and learning. This evolution highlights the potential of esports in higher education as institutions explore innovative ways to incorporate these programs into their curricula, enhancing the overall educational experience for students. South America. Ian University in Bogota, Colombia, inaugurated an advanced XR lab powered by Viru, integrating it into their curriculum to enhance education and support sustainability. The lab fosters innovation, promotes sustainable entrepreneurship, and offers an advanced education model using virtual environments. The 100 square meter immersive room allows students to explore, experiment and collaborate virtually, reducing carbon footprints while engaging with complex problems. This initiative aims to expand Ian's positive social and economic impact by providing innovative tools for learning and creating an ecosystem for knowledge sharing that benefits both education and industry sectors. Europe and the UK. The European Vocational Training Association participated in the Digitable project, funded by Erasmus+. The aims were to establish a training standard for inclusive digital trainers, focusing on developing learner-centered, inclusive digital training programs using ICT to support people with disabilities. The project addresses 3 levels: web platform access, content accessibility, and inclusive learning activities. A final multiplier event disseminated the Replicability Toolkit, providing materials and tools for replicating inclusive digital trainer training. The project includes a 44-hour certified online vocational training course for 120 participants across multiple countries, equipping trainers with the skills needed to deliver inclusive digital training for people with disabilities. Africa. The FIFA Foundation has launched its digital education program in Mauritania, aiming to enhance digital literacy amongst school children aged 6 to 12. The initiative not only teaches technology interaction, but also promotes social inclusion through engaging activities linked to football, such as coding and robotics. By fostering teamwork and problem-solving skills, the program aims to boost
The programme aims to boost students' confidence and mental well-being. It is expected to positively impact the lives of at least 10,000 children over the next 3 years, contributing to their future success and resilience in a digital world. Asia. The Asian Association of Open Universities has launched a comprehensive digital education programme in 2024, focusing on enhancing digital literacy and open education across Asia. The initiative aims to train over 100,000 students in advanced digital technologies, including VR, AR and AI applications in education. The programme emphasises lifelong learning opportunities and seeks to bridge the digital skills gap in the region. It includes collaborations with tech companies to provide cutting-edge training materials and platforms for member institutions. The Middle East. Back in June 2023, the INSEAD Immersive Learning Initiative hosted their first annual meeting of the global XR community at the INSEAD Middle East campus in Abu Dhabi, bringing together global scholars using and developing VR for teaching and research. Now running regular community engagement workshops in immersive learning with INSEAD XR, they show teachers how to use virtual reality as a tool for business and management education, showcasing how immersive experiences can enhance learner engagement and increase impact while creating a unique learning experience. Thanks to the support of the Abu Dhabi Department of Education and Knowledge and a strategic partnership with Avris, INSEAD XR is being used for management education and experimental academic research. Australia and New Zealand. And finally, Australia utilises AR and VR to attract Indian students in a groundbreaking initiative. Using augmented reality and virtual reality technologies to showcase its educational offerings. The Festival of Australia 2024 featured VR tunnels that allow students to explore Australian landscapes and universities virtually. This innovative approach aims to enhance the understanding of living and studying in Australia, whilst also promoting joint degree programs that enable students to study part of their education in India before completing it in Australia, thereby fostering international collaboration in education. That's been your Global Weekly News Roundup. Come back and join us again in 2025 for more exciting news here in the JFI Radio Newsroom.
And you're back. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the news. So let me just put a couple of things. Already I've given you the ticker that tells you how you can catch up with some of the links that I mentioned to the news just now. The other thing you can do, shamefully, I will plug that I'd love for you to subscribe. Then you'll get regular notifications of when I am live on air or coming live on air. So please go to YouTube and subscribe and help me get to the magic 100. I'm just a little bit of way away, but hopefully that will all change next year. The other thing is I've just changed the ticker now because you might have news that you want to share with me, and that's great. I'd love to hear your news. So please tell me what it is and I'll feature you on the next news report in the new year. So let's come into the second part of the show, and I want to talk to you about Lily. Again, this was something that I mentioned, albeit briefly, last week, and it is quite exciting, and it comes from the consulting firm McKinsey. Now, McKinsey have developed their own internal chat GPT called Lily. And it made me think about the way that they're using Lily because it very much sounds as if they're creating a data store yard of information, and they call it insights that they've got from previous projects. So when you do a project, any kind of project, you also do an after action review, an AAR, and hopefully learn from that project for the next one that you do. And of course, as a consulting firm, they're constantly working on client projects. So what they're doing is they're using Lily to package these project insights, these AARs, in like some stories, little vignettes, and encouraging their consultants to tap into Lily as opposed to ChatGPT and some of the third party proprietary AI tools. Tap into their own knowledge, their own internal knowledge, so that they can handle their organizational memory, very much like the former way that we used to manage knowledge, but this is a very dynamic approach because they're using the technology of Gen AI, or they have used it, to create Lily. And it excites me, but it also interests me to see how things go round in circles and maybe come back with new names, new focuses, new perspectives. I just wonder if other organizations that have, you're going to need the money, the finances, and the intellectual resources might follow this lead. And that we see in the future more organizations creating their own internal Gen AI systems for managing knowledge. What this does to, I think it's a watch this space. Now, if you do actually know of anyone else that has done this, then please tell me. I'll just change that. There we go. Talk to me using either the comment function in YouTube or on Facebook, if that is where you're listening to me from, and tell me, are there other organizations that you know that have used the technology of Gen AI to create their own systems for doing this? So instead of going to Claude or Perplexity AI, they go to their own. In the case of McKinsey, they're going to go to Lily. Now, what this does, it is definitely encouraging, particularly Mackenzie, more listening to what's gone on before and repackaging it and reusing it and using it in new projects. And this speaks to me so strongly because it relates to a lot of my other thoughts that I'm having at the moment about the kind of skills we humans need to work alongside the speedy, the phenomenal, the speedy AI developments. And us humans, we need to focus really carefully on the way that we use our human judgment, the way that we are using our creativity and our strategic thinking. These aren't just good skills to have. These are crucial skills to have. These are vital skills to have in the age of AI, and particularly with advanced tools like McKinsey's Lily and many others that follow suit. So, if we are looking at human judgment, okay, AI systems are telling us so much these days, but we as humans need to be able to critically evaluate their output and not just take it that what is coming out of the system is accurate, is correct, is unbiased, because I think maybe in some cases it's incredibly biased, and we need to recognize that and work out when we can trust certain information and when we can't, and when we need to question it and when we need to override it with our own common sense and, yes, human judgment. There's also an element here of ethical decision making, particularly around complex situations, they still need us. It still needs our values-based reasoning. Now, I've just written the first of 4 playbooks for release in 2025. It's called The Little Red Playbook for Engagement, and it picks up and follows on from the first book I wrote back in 2021 about real empathic learning. And this particular playbook focuses on learner and team worker engagement. And in it, I introduce a framework that shows readers how to interact with AI responses and how to use their human judgment, and how, when you're in a class-based situation, how you use this framework to have better class engagement and more thinking and more creativity. I'll bring you more information about that in January. But if let's just stay with the creativity bit for a moment. AI, and I love AI, and I use it a great deal. It generates ideas, but what it does, it really gets me thinking. And my creativity is boosted by just 1 or 2 words, 1 or 2 thoughts, and I'm away. And then those of you that know me, and know me well, know that I can have an idea every moment. I wake up in the morning, it's my best time, 5 a.m. in the morning, I wake up and I've got these ideas sort of swimming around in my brain. And I have got to give a shout out to my lovely friend Penny Bradshaw. Hi Penny, good morning. I dump all these ideas on Penny every now and again, and she's a very, very well established HR professional, and she manages to temper my slightly overexcited viewpoint with things. And sometimes it could be something AI has prompted me, sometimes it's something during the week that I've heard, I've listened to, I've read, and it just gets me thinking, it just gets me going, and I go, Penny, I've got another idea. So I know if you're listening to this or the replay, Penny, you are giggling to yourself now. You know it's true. But creativity is something that we really do need to help people understand how to learn and how to do and how to have new ideas, because those new ideas can be used for short-term project planning, for long-term strategic thinking, for understanding things in a broader sense, seeing both sides of a story. And by the way, if you're in education, having those both sides is really important, because what you can then do is create a good argument in your essays and your assessments and your reports and your dissertations. These skills, what I'm talking about now, and you can hear the excitement in my voice because it really does fire me up. These skills, they're the ones that are going to make us humans work better in AI augmented workplaces. We need them. They represent real added value. And rather than trying to compete with AI, we can't. We're going to learn how to work with it. And so those human skills, those human traits are really important. Let AI, go on, let it do all the heavy lifting work. And us humans, we just adapt accordingly. We flex our creativity, our human judgment, and if it improves team working, if it improves the workplace, if it improves studying, if it improves organisational memory, then fantastic. Gen AI and a lot of the XR fundamentals will really help us capture what's happened before and build upon it. The secret, of course, and this is a quote that some of you may have heard me say before, it's not what we know, it's how we use what we know to improve the way we do things in the future. So I'm going to sign off for this podcast, and I'm now going to start my hibernation period. This is the last broadcast for 2024. And if you're wondering about the hibernation bit, then you need to go back to the broadcast from 22nd of November. It's on Spotify, it's on YouTube, and I shared some ideas from my lovely colleague, the eminent neuroscientist, Dr. Linda Shaw, who wrote a fantastic article about crafting our work life around the seasons. Listen to the 22nd of November, you'll understand more. So I am going to switch off the microphone very shortly, and I'm going to be collecting up all of my thoughts. Think of squirrels and nuts here, and packaging them all together. And I'm going to come back to you on Friday, the 10th of January. Let me pop that up on the screen. Where did it go? There it is. There it is. And I'm also going to just leave that one up here for now. I'm going to come back on Friday, the 10th of January. Oh, no, hold on. I thought I put it up there. Silly me. Silly me. You just can't get the engineers these days, can you? Remember, it's me and only me doing everything. So I'm allowed to make mistakes once in a while. I'll see you back in 2025. I have got a lovely new set of ideas, always, of course, ramblings and opinions and world news, and some exciting new developments for JFI Radio. Can I please wish you all a very peaceful season, Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year to you all. JFI Radio now.